Whiskey Dan radio show. We're actually recording during the day because daylight savings happened and it's Sunday, so fuck it. We got Johnnie Walker Double Black, and we got another guest. We got Cam on. Want to go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
Hi, guys. I'm Cam.
Just Cam.
Just Cam.
Just.
Well, I get on Facebook and I'm like, hey, it's your local lizard artist because I work at the shop. So, and I split tongue and keep lizards. So usually, just Cam.
Yeah. I've never had, I really like Johnnie Walker Red Label. So I've never had this before. So.
Well, I mean, you had Alec on before, and the first time I had it was Alec with Alec. So.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah,
that's really good. Yeah, and you're actually the first person who's brought something like on the show as the drink. I have financially funded this entire show, which
right.
I do not want to do the math on that.
Holy shit, yeah.
But I mean, it's fine. I was going to drink it regardless. Now I'm just having an outlet to record everything. But damn, that is really good. It is super smoky. Like it is. The closest that I've had to this would be the Dewar's Ancestor Scotch.
Yeah, this is the first time I've drank really anything that expensive. Now, I did drink, like I was telling you earlier before the show, I was telling you about the Johnnie Walker Blue, but I think that's the most expensive thing since that I've had to drink. I usually don't drink anything that expensive.
No, fuck no. How much was this?
All together, about, I think it was like $50.
Oh, like you're out the door with the tax and everything, about $50. So $50, definitely not like an everyday thing unless you're fucking rich. But man, it's nice. I really like this. Shit. So, by the way, the clicking is the vape pen because I can't smoke in the apartment.
Yeah, I forget about that.
It's
You
okay.
told me about the cup, and I'm like, damn it.
Nah, it's cool. So you're a tattoo artist.
Yeah, man. I did my apprenticeship from 2010 to 2012.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, like how tattoo, like the career side of it works, you do an apprenticeship. You work for 2 years for free, and most of the time you have to pay for your apprenticeship. Mm-hmm. So the guy that I apprenticed under, if I had to pay him, it would have been $5,000 a year.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's like going to college.
Yeah, it's absolutely like going to college, and you do have, when you get out, they give you a big plaque or a certificate of completion of a apprenticeship. And
it's like barber school.
Yeah, well, in Texas, we don't need that to work at a shop.
Oh, okay.
So you in Texas, the only thing that you have to have is the shop has to be licensed. So in Oklahoma, though, I worked in Oklahoma, in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, and you had to have your BBP, which I usually keep anyway, your bloodborne pathogens training.
Oh, okay.
You have to have your CPR and your first aid, and then you have to go and take a class, prove that you had an apprenticeship, and you have to pay something like $250 to get an individual tattoo license. So, I mean, in Oklahoma, again, for those of you that aren't into tattoos a lot, in Oklahoma, they were illegal until fairly recently, probably in the last 15 years.
Oh, like you couldn't have a tattoo shop in Oklahoma? That's so
couldn't.
Weird. Like you could gamble there, but you couldn't have a tattoo. And you think about all the Native American reservations that are in Oklahoma, and like tattooing is a big part of a lot of those cultures.
Well, that particular group, a lot of those particular groups don't have their own tattoos. Now the Mojaves do. The Mojave have their own, like, Moco, which is the marriage tattoo on their chin.
Yeah.
They have scalp keeper tattoos on their cheekbones, sort of that. And then they have different designs that they do. But most of the Oklahoma tribes don't have that. But one of the main things about tattooing also when I was in Oklahoma is you had to go all the way down to Gainesville, Texas to get a tattoo. When I lived there.
Yeah.
I lived there when I was like 14, and it was like back in 2004.
Oh, okay.
And so
and then in the state that you got to be 18, or like if you can be like 16 or 17 with like a parental consent or something like that.
No, actually, in the state of Texas, and I got a story about this.
Oh boy.
So in the state of Texas, you have to be 17, and if you're under 18, even if you are 17, you have to have a court-ordered affidavit signed by a judge.
Really?
Yeah, to cover up a gang or
okay.
drug-related tattoo.
Like, you have to tell them like what you're gonna get.
Well, and it's to cover up it's to cover up any gang or drug-related tattoo.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're going to go to jail or if you're trying to get out into the professional world, you've got these nasty tattoos.
Yeah.
A judge can go, okay, well, it's in the best interest of this person to cover up that tattoo.
Yeah, it's like you're probably not going to get a job with 1488 tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah, or a big like syringe or dope pipe on your neck or something like. But
which I've seen.
So we had this kid back when I was at Resurrection, as where I did my apprenticeship. It was the first tattoo shop I was at. We had this kid come in, and he had the word blood on his upper arm, on his bicep.
So he's a real genius.
Yeah, no, he's a lily white kid. So he comes in, and his mom comes in with him, and they're the quintessential, like, Cumberland kid, white kid. Mm-hmm. And he comes in, and the other artist that was working there, I was still an apprentice, so I wasn't in a chair yet. The other artist goes, okay, son, what do you want? Very disrespectfully, I guess would be the best way to say it. He looks at the other artist and goes, I want a pit bull, motherfucker.
What the...
Check this out.
Oh, God.
So, Crash, my buddy, he starts laughing. He's like, okay, I'll give you a pit bull. Old boy goes back and prints up the cutest pit bull puppy I've ever seen. And he uses this cutesy pit bull puppy to cover up blood on this kid's arm. This kid thinks he's a gangster. Now he has a little pit bull puppy on his arm to cover up that word.
God, what a shitbag, man.
It was amazing.
Fucking Christ. That's hilarious. It's just, I want a pit bull, motherfucker. Like, what, okay, in what profession you just, like, walk into the, like, even at my, day job, if somebody, like, treated me like, get the fuck out. Like, get the fuck out. Like, I'm not, no.
Well, and, dude, we get a lot of shitbags. I mean, in any tattoo shop,
you're going to get a lot of dregs of society walking in the door.
Well, I wouldn't say so much that as tattoos, okay, fuck it. Tattoos are like working as a stripper, okay? You get a lot of...
Nipples.
Yeah, a lot of nipples. You get a lot of people coming in, that want a discount, so they start flirting with you.
Oh, God.
It's funny, you sent me that text message the other day about it,
Yeah.
But believe it or not, that happens a lot.
I bet it does.
And, but you also get people that... Because you're a tattoo artist, I think they just automatically think that your time isn't as valuable as other professions.
Well, it's the same thing with like internet artists and like people like graphic designers and stuff. It's like, oh, like it's not even that hard. You just have like the software. You just do this for me. Right. It's like, okay, it's going to be $140 an hour. It's going to take me minimum 3 hours to get this done, and I'm going to make it to where like this is the only version you're going to need because it's going to be like I'll give you all different files and all this stuff. Like, that's crazy. I'm not spending $1,000 on this shit. It's like, well, go fucking do it yourself, motherfucker.
Right. Well, and I run $130 an hour.
Yeah.
But I run pretty quick, and I've been doing this for 9 years. It's not something I just started. So we had one guy, again, the same guy, Crash, a guy that I worked with. We had one guy that used to always come in. He would book primetime appointments on Saturday. Okay, so Saturdays in any tattoo shop, we usually keep open for walk-ins because people are off work and they can come in and they can spend their money.
Yeah.
And they can come in and get tattoos and do it as a group thing. Well, we had a guy that would constantly come in drunk on his primetime appointment, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, again, I'm explaining all of this. If you tattoo somebody that's drunk and the health inspector or a cop comes in, you can go to jail.
Yeah.
That's illegal to tattoo somebody.
Yeah, I knew
drunk.
that.
So every time this guy would come in, Crash couldn't work on him. And he had been turning people away so that he could work on this guy. So he could set this guy's time apart.
So fucker comes in drunk.
4 times. He didn't do it a 5th time.
Oh, man.
And the reason why is on the 4th time, the guy's piece was a big back piece. Okay. It's a big dragon on a big castle and this big medieval scene on his back.
Okay, so we're looking several $100s worth of work.
You're looking at probably around $1,500 all in all.
You could buy a Ford Ranger with that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace, and the other day I was like, I'll be dipped in shit, man. Dan was right. You got $1,500, you got a Ford Ranger.
They're like a 2-door Civic, like a 03 Civic. Damn, it, sell those bitches for like $1,200.
Right. Well, anyway, this guy comes in. The last time he came in drunk, and Crash was just livid, just angry. And he's like, you know what, dude? I got you. Guy goes in the back. Crash tattoos him for about, I'd say, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then he sends the guy home. He's like, whatever. Guy comes up to the shop the next day, and he's mad, just angry. Fucking vehemently angry. Just gonna kill somebody angry. And I'm like, sir, what's up? And he's like, you gotta tell this motherfucker to fix this. Fuck that dude. All this stuff. I was like, so you're gonna have to show me what's going on so I can tell him, hey, the guy that got this is really angry about it. He pulls up his shirt, and what Crash had done is in the shading where he's gonna cover it up anyway. He's gonna do real black, dark shading anyway.
Yeah.
In that area, he put the biggest, the veiniest, the most triumphant, and I mean the most legendary penis. It was so detailed, dude. I really don't understand how he spent that much time. He had to have been looking at a picture of a penis when he did this thing.
He's like, yeah.
It was so well done.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. It's like, well, you fucking cost me probably $10,000 because I've been telling people, sorry, man, I can't do you today. Can you come in at a later time? And then when you do show up, and I've turned people away for, I can't even operate with you because you're fucking drunk as shit. Yeah, that's what you get. You get a fucking dick.
Yeah. Wow.
Granted, he's gonna cover it up anyway.
Yeah, no, and it was in a place in the tattoo that was gonna get covered up with big black shading anyway.
Yeah.
The same color, same kind of ink. It's not gonna be there. That guy didn't come in drunk anymore.
Yeah.
Well, he fixed him. So, but yeah, man, tattooing it's been a great career. I can go anywhere I want. I've gone from here to Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Went from Bartlesville, Oklahoma to Dallas. Went from Dallas to New Orleans. I bounced all around doing
How'd you
this
like
stuff.
New Orleans?
New Orleans, for somebody like me, and I tell Alec all the time, I'm like, hey man, we need to go down to New Orleans because when I went down there, it's a tattoo artist paradise.
I bet it is.
There's so much culture and so much going on. There's so much
so many
stuff.
nipples.
And so many
A lot
nipples.
of exposed nipples.
A lot of it. Well, that's just during certain times of year. That's a lie. It's always. But it also, if you're into music and you like playing music, in Dallas they have a problem with busking. In New Orleans, they almost ask you to.
What?
Busking. Playing guitar on the side of the road or playing whatever on the side of the road. There is so many people down there doing that.
Oh, okay.
And they drop their hat and you throw money into it, or they drop their guitar case. And while I was there, I met so many people. The only thing is, I think that everybody in New Orleans got there on a freight train.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because everybody I talked to was like, "Yeah, dude, I hop the train down here." I'm like, "So you get like Amtrak around here?" No, we dropped on a freight train and got down here. I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Fucking Hobo Express, man.
Hell yeah, man!
Now I'm in New Orleans.
It was beautiful, and down there's just a energy about the place that's really, really cool.
Yeah, like that's one of those places where you can go into a bar and get like a liquor drink to go. Like, hey, give me a gin and tonic. Put that motherfucker in a styrofoam cup because I'm out of this bitch.
Well, there's a place that exclusively sells those hand grenades.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a drink. It's a hand grenade. It's like this little. It's about the size of this bottle here, and the bottom of it looks like a grenade. They sell those specifically to go. They sell them to you, and then they're like, "Hey, go ahead, fuck off."
It's like this isn't a bar, man. Get the hell out.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah, I've never been down that way. Just haven't. I haven't really left this area too much.
Yeah.
I'm a vacation place, but I've never moved out for more than a while. Primarily just because I don't know. It seems like a lot of energy, like relocating and everything. But like you're saying, like with tattooing, it's like you could literally get a gig in any city, work for someone else.
Yeah, you can, man. And one thing about tattooing that, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I wholeheartedly believe one thing about tattooing that's different than a lot of other jobs is there's no automation to tattooing. Because there's a consultation process and there's a bedside manner process and there's all these things that machines can't do. So you not to be conspiratorial, but like you really can't automate it. No. It is a camaraderie thing, and people get to where they have an artist that they really like. They like their personality, not just their art, but they like their personality, like hanging out with them. And then at some point, it just becomes you're hanging out with your homie and getting really cool artwork. Yeah. And that's what I thrive on. A lot of guys, they're really, really good artists, but they're not very good with people. I'm not really good with people until I'm in that room. But when I'm in that room, dude, I'm pretty good at it. Yeah.
It's interesting because, like, I have no tattoos and no piercings, and I just never had a drive to really get one. Yeah, I don't know. And then, like, a lot of people, like, think that like, I would, like, I hate people, like, or, like, I hate, like, tattooing. I was like, no, like, it's perfectly cool. I just don't want one just because,
You're right.
But, like, for the same reason I don't want a convertible. Just,
right.
It's not for me, you know.
But, well, and tattoos are there forever. Like,
yeah, that's another thing.
I've seen the way they remove the motherfuckers, and it's not cool.
Yeah, it does not look like it's fun.
Well, you got two options. You have the laser stuff, and that burns. Mm-hmm. Or you do what my mom did back in the early 90s, and they do something called salibration. Mm. They literally scrub it off with rock salt. So there's that.
Yeah, because it's like 1 or 2 layers deep in your skin.
It's 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you try to go between the 3rd and the 4th layer. And when you look at it on a diagram, it looks kind of crazy. And when you do it, people forget. That's another thing about, like, people get mad about the price of tattoos and all that. Well, we have to work for 2 years, like I said before, for free before you do this. And there's a certain technique to it that it's a 3D medium. It's not like working on paper. Yeah. You're not just drawing it. You're literally putting that ink into a certain layer of skin for different applications. Yeah. So when you're shading, you're working more like a sculptor than you are a sketch artist. So it's pretty crazy.
See, okay, how often do people come in asking for, like, Nazi shit tattoos?
I've only had one guy here in Tyler. In Dallas, they'd come in, and mostly because I lived in Irving, and so that's a Mexican town, so there's not as many that do that. But here in Tyler, I had a guy come in and asked me to do the Shield and Mein Kampf. The words Mein Kampf. Yeah. Mein Kampf meaning my struggle across his stomach. And I was like, hey, man, no. Just no.
I would tell you that, no.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I've covered up Nazi shields. I've covered up swastikas. I've covered up bolts. I've covered up all kinds of gang-related tattoos. I've covered up all kinds of drug-related tattoos.
Well, I'm sure that, like, half of being a tattoo artist is doing cover-up work on either shitty work or stupid decisions.
You'd be surprised. No, it's not. Most people hate cover-ups. Most tattoo artists hate cover-ups. I specialize and love them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I absolutely do. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, man. It is a really cool challenge because you get to cover up, especially when it's a well-done tattoo. I mean, any idiot with just a little bit of experience can cover up these amorphous blobs that people get from their homie in their kitchen. I like covering up really well-done tattoos because they're hard. They're very hard to cover up. Because the brain, it's interesting, the brain falls into play there. So humans are very, very good at pattern recognition. It's a lot of the reason why we see faces in the clouds and why we see things in the clouds like a bunny or whatever. Yeah. Our brains are very good at equating what that shape is to what we recognize it as, right? So if you look at a tattoo and it's well done, but somebody's tried to cover it up, if they haven't hidden that and broken up that pattern, you can still tell.
Especially, like, if that person had that tattoo and they're, like, so used to seeing whatever that was, and, like, I could still fucking see it, damn it. Yeah, and I think that's one reason why when you get a cover-up, it's usually twice the size of whatever it was. So
yeah, my challenge for myself when I do cover-ups like that is simply start with something just a little bit bigger. Yeah. Nothing huge, just a little bit bigger than the pieces that's there. Yeah. And try to break up that pattern and cover it up that way. Because if I can do that, then it's a lot better, and I can keep the price down, I can keep the pain down for that person. Yeah. Names are awesome. I had a guy come in. I was about a year out of my apprenticeship. I had a guy come in. My boss had told me, hey, man, I've got this cover-up for you. He's going to come in and with his wife, and he's going to get it covered up. He didn't tell me where it was. Didn't tell me what it was. So this guy comes in, and his girlfriend's right behind him, and he takes off his shirt, and I see the name Amanda. So I think her name is Amanda.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's up, Amanda? And she's like, my name's not Amanda, and that needs to go somewhere. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Well, there goes my tip.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, okay, man, what do you want to do with this tattoo? And he's like, honestly, I don't know. It's up to her. And I was like, so jokingly, I was like, what do you want to do with Amanda? And she's like, I don't care if you bury the bitch. And I was like, awesome, cool. So I'm sitting there, and I was drawing on his chest with a Sharpie because, shout out to Paul Booth, one of my favorite tattoo artists in the world. He uses orange and purple Sharpies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's his whole style. He draws with orange and purple Sharpies, and then he tattoos that all freehand. So
Damn.
I took an orange and purple Sharpie and started drawing around it. And then I thought about what she said, and I was like, I know what I'm going to do. So I made the name. I just put a couple of lines and a couple of amorphous shapes, and I made the name into a stack of stones and put a cross on top of it.
Oh,
made
really?
it look like a grave site.
That's
I was
pretty
like,
cool.
We buried the bitch, man.
Yeah.
And she was super happy about it, so.
Well, shit. That's pretty cool. Man, like I said, like I never really got into getting a tattoo, but man, like, what is it with chicks getting fucking anchor tattoos? Is that still a thing?
Yes, and
Do you just refuse to do those?
no, I do them because I'm a hoe.
Hey, man, you gotta pay the bills.
Yeah,
No shame in
right.
that.
$20 is $20. No, I don't know what it is. The thing that bothers me is when they get the anchor with the "I refuse to sink."
When that's an anchor's actual, like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
its
what
whole
it's supposed
function
to do.
is.
Yeah.
There was a girl I went to in high school, and she got that done when she was still in high school. She got it like on her hip, and I just was like, "That's so fucking stupid." And like,
Yeah.
she caught wind of me like making fun of her for it, and I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's stupid. It's objectively stupid."
Yeah. Well, and you get the what I call white girl tattoos.
Like
And
feathers.
You get
Dandelion.
feathers and infinity signs and anchors with an infinity sign or an EKG line that turns into the word sisters, or you get these.
God, dude, there's so many EKG line tattoos.
Bro, you have no idea. And my minimum is $60. So you come into the shop. If I touch you with a needle, that's $60. So they come and get that EKG line with sisters. I don't care what size it is.
Yeah.
It's still one line. I could literally, if I could keep my hand steady long enough, could do that whole tattoo in one line. It's easy money for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yes, I hate doing them. It bother me so bad.
It's like you're halfway through and you just think, this is bastardizing my profession. What the fuck?
Yeah, right. I just want to die. Like,
Yeah.
it sucks, man.
Oh, well. What are things that you just, like, refuse to do?
Oh, yeah, there's a couple of different tattoos that I refuse to do. I won't do face tattoos
Okay, that's probably a good thing.
at all. Well, and the thing is, man, you see all these different people with facial tattoos now. And as a tattoo artist, even, I'm like,
Like, fucking Post Malone got always tired. Like, right here.
yeah, and stay
so
awake on
stupid.
above it. Like,
It's so stupid. Like, dude, you look like a Chipotle bag on your face.
well, and I won't do facial tattoos at all. I don't like. It's not that I just don't like them. I objectively not conducive to having any kind of future. Like,
Yeah, like it's kind of like the only thing you can do is if you have face tattoos is either be like a counselor to kids and like, hey, don't be a fuck up like I was, be a tattoo artist, or just be like a professional drug dealer.
or there's certain trade jobs you can do, but even at that level, if you want to go somewhere, there's one thing. Okay, so I'm a big advocate for expressing yourself. Obviously, I'm a tattoo artist. I've got my tongue split. I've got tattoos on my head. I've got all these different pieces of work that are very visible when I want them to be visible.
Yeah.
But it's just like religion, man. It's one thing to ask somebody to accept you. In religion, in tattooing, in sexuality, I think everybody has the right to have whatever they want as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Their beliefs, their whatever. But it's kind of like having a penis. It's good to have one. It's good to be proud of it.
Yeah.
It's
but not
cool.
everybody. Don't make people
Yeah, don't shove it down my throat.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel with everything.
And like facial tattoos, it's like, hey, like I'm fucking crazy. That's why I got a crying clown on the side of my head. It's like,
or
okay.
Gucci Mane has that damn like
Yeah,
ice cream cone.
Yeah, he's got 3 scoops of ice cream.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like what blows my mind is that there's people that are like younger than me. I'm 23. There's people that are like 21, like fucking inked the fuck out, like all on their face and neck and shit. And I'm like I respect the people that like get like a lot of tattoos and they're like, hey man, like neck down and like avoid my junk. Like,
right.
I'm cool with whatever else.
Well, that goes back to the Yakuza. The Yakuza, man, and I'm not just a tattoo artist. I love tattoos. Like, I love the world of tattoos, the language of them, the different customs and stuff when it comes to tattoos. The Japanese Yakuza, they used to get their tattoos in what looks like a shirt. And they would do it all but the big line between their pectoral muscles, all the way down. They get full body suits, except for past a certain point on their arm, so they could wear a suit and it wouldn't show. Even when they had their shirt open, it wouldn't show. But if they wanted to show it off, they could. I like that kind of stuff. I like the, especially for some reason on women, I like the classy, like I have a lot of ink. But it's something for me. It's not showy. It's not in your face or anything like that. They're just really well done, really well placed, really well flowing tattoos. I love them. Right. And they're, because of that, goes into other stuff that I refuse to do. Facial tattoos I won't do. I won't do hand tattoos unless you have considerable ink. I don't like tattooing hands.
You have a hand tattoo.
Yeah, I do, but I have a lot of ink.
That's fair.
Yeah, my arm is all done. I have one on my chest. I've got a big one on my side. My legs are done.
Have you done pretty much all of your own tattoos?
All the ones that I could reach. Yeah, the ones on my head I didn't do. The ones on my back I didn't do. All the others I did. We've talked about that in the past. I might tell that story later on. But yeah, man, I did most of my tattoos on myself, and the reason why is during my apprenticeship. For everything that the guy that I trained under did, he did give me a place to learn. He did give me time to learn. He gave me a safe, clean place to tattoo. He didn't teach me much else. So, like, I had to sit there. I built my machines. I tattooed my friends. I tattooed myself. There really wasn't a learning experience past that other than the time that I had behind the needle and the time that I had with other clients and learning how to deal with people. And the bedside manner, like I was talking about earlier, is very, very important. The art is important, yeah, but honestly, from an artist perspective and from somebody that does this professionally, it's more important to be able to deal with people in a one-on-one setting than you could be goddamn Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael. If you can't deal with a person to person, and not do it well, you're not going to make, not only you're not going to make money, you're not going to be in this industry very long. Yeah,
like you need to be very personable.
Oh yeah, and you
got to deal with like a wide range of people because everybody, all types of people have tattoos. Like race, not a factor in that at all.
No,
financial class. I mean, granted, I would argue that typically people like on the poorer end have more tattoos. But then again, there's also like a lot of rich fuckers that'll spend, $25,000 or $2,500 to get like a full sleeve done. And it's really nice.
So, at one time, when I first started my apprenticeship, and in the shop that I was in, I would say 98% of my clientele are female.
Really?
I would say during the first 4 years of my career, probably 80% of that was nurses and professional women, be it influencers, instructors, therapists, all kinds of different higher class jobs. And they would come to the shop that I was at because we were well known for being the cleanest shop in town. We did all the sterility and stuff like that daily, and we did this and that, and the shop smelled like Pine Sol all the time and Oragel for some reason. Yeah, dude, it was pretty cool. But I got to learn that a lot of people think, like you just said, a lot of people think that tattoos, and it's always been that way, that tattoos were a lower class thing. They're for sailors and gangbangers. And the fact of the matter is, dude, before I got into the industry, I thought the same thing. I thought, the lawyers and the doctors and all those guys, there's no way they got ink. Bro, I have seen so many professional types come in, and they get full sleeves. They get full chest pieces.
Damn.
And the reason why, in their three-piece suit, or when they're standing up at the podium talking to people, or when they're in court, or when they're dealing with people in a hospital, people don't see those tattoos. But they get to go home, and they get to put on their wife beater or their button-up shirt and go out to the bar and hang out with friends and do all that.
Yeah.
They can show off their ink then.
Yeah, that's fair. See, like I feel that if I had a tattoo, it'd be something like a T-shirt would cover anyway, like how like Alex's tattoo is. Because his is on his back shoulder. But like if I got one, it'd probably be like on my arm or something.
Yeah, baby boy, man. When we went up to when he got his tattoo done, it's funny. He didn't even set out to get a tattoo that night.
Yeah, somebody paid for it.
Hell yeah. Well, and it was funny how it started. There's this, what we thought was a couple having a fight in Deep Ellum Brewery. And AJ's like, hey, man, can you go see what's going on over there? Can you go see, like, can you go break that up? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'll go see.
Yeah, fuck it.
Because I'm me. So I went over there, I started talking to the girl. And the guy started talking to AJ. And turns out that was his cousin, and the guy's name was Chase. He was a really, really good dude, and so we ended up hanging out with those people over a perceived altercation. We ended up like chilling with them.
Nice.
And then at like 2 a.m. in Deep Ellum, AJ went and got his first tattoo because the guy was like, "You don't have a tattoo, you got to get one."
An only tattoo. He doesn't have another one, does he?
No.
Are you gonna give him one?
If he ever wants to. I mean, we were thinking about going to school for motorcycles. And so when we get down there and start doing that, I'm almost positive. I mean, we're going to Phoenix, so I'm almost positive at some point AJ's going to be like, "Okay, man, let's just do it," and then we'll figure out something. He's very into music, so.
When y'all planning on doing that?
Somewhere in the next. We were thinking about going in September, and going to school. It's only a 9-month program, so we'll be back pretty quick. But yeah, we're gonna go work on that. I'm gonna go take a portfolio with me. And probably go try to get a shop spot. And I can get a shop spot. There's not as many people doing cover-ups like I do. So we're going to go up there and see how that goes. But yeah, man, I'm pretty sure at some point AJ will get more tattoos. He's already asking me to pierce his nose. And he's going to look like a white Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, well,
so that's cool.
Fucking hipster. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, so like I think it's funny because like you're a tattoo artist. You got a bunch of ink. Like you have... two motorcycles, and you're like working on a third one.
Oh no, I got 3 in my garage right now. One of them's not mine. One of them's just my brother dropped it off, and now he's trying to pawn it off.
You're a fucking problem now, dude. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Well, he dropped it off at my house because he had to move, and then as soon as he left, he called me and he's like, "Hey man, do you want the BMW? Because I really need you to just take over payments." Because he did that with that Harley that I always ride, that Dyna, and that's my big bike now. I have that little Sportster 1200.
Little 1200.
It is all little. Right. Man, you get on that Dyna and then you sit on that Sportster. It feels like a toy, man. It feels like a bicycle.
That's still a big-ass motor, though.
It is a big motor. It's a big motor on a tiny frame is what it is. And ooh.
It's like me and my penis. Anyway, sorry. The penis being a tiny frame. No, but like it's funny because like you do all that, like it would be like so funny if you like exclusively smoked Marlboro Reds and like only drank Budweiser.
Yeah, I don't drink that much, and I smoke Newport 100, so I guess like.
Do you smoke the menthol ones?
Hell yeah.
Okay, you're like one of the few white guys I know that smokes
right.
menthol Newports.
Well, and I do the high five jokes. So there's that.
It's fucking true though. No,
it is.
Like white people cannot turn down a high five, and
I proved it.
Yeah, ever since you brought that up, like I started doing that, like to like other white guys, and they're like, "Oh shit, yeah, high five, dude!" And it's like immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever seen AJ when I like do that?
Yeah.
Because he knows what I'm doing,
like,
and he's like, "I still have to do it." But yeah, man.
I don't know. Like I drink 40s because like there's a black man inside of me screaming to get out. So
right.
That's what I drink lean. I did that once. I'm not gonna recommend doing that again.
It's not fun. I don't like it. It makes me sweaty and feel nasty.
I actually had like a super decent time with it, but being like super easy to OD on because it's just liquid heroin essentially because it's like
it's
all
codeine.
of that. Yeah, it's all that codeine and all that opiate. Man, it makes you feel really good, but it takes like a while to come off of it, and then you're just like everything's like slowed way too down. And because I was talking, because last night, for all my lovely listeners, last night Josh was on the show, and after the show we had talked about, opiate stuff like that, because I was like, if I was a drug user, I would definitely be a depressant type user.
Right.
Just because I don't like being like amped, because like I feel that I can amp myself up really well. I have a hard time calming down.
Right.
So that's why I feel like I would like dive way too deep into depressants like that. And I was telling some people, I was like, man, if I could just get like pure opium and just like lay down and just like smoke opium like a Chinaman in 1850, like I would do it just to see like, all right, I have no more back pain. This is pretty cool.
Oh man, I have a pretty extensive drug past. For those of us that know me, know that. And it has in no way has to do with tattooing. But I've done pretty much everything from acid to Xanax, man. And the truth of the matter is, all the opium derived things that I've done, I absolutely hated.
Really?
And I was fortunate-ish that the only time I ever did heroin was while I was tripping acid. Thank God,
right.
because I had a bad trip because of it.
Okay.
Because the way it made me feel, I felt like my body was melting down.
Yeah.
And
That's like how everybody's described it to me. It's like you just melt like where you're sitting or where you're laying or whatever.
well, and if you're on LSD, literally like you're melting down.
In reality, you just having a bunch of cold sweats.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing was hallucinogens though. I did everything but ayahuasca. I really want to do ayahuasca.
See, but like I feel like because like a lot of times people like will like overheat, like they'll like their whole body will like get a fever from ayahuasca, like while they're tripping.
Yes and no. I mean, there are ways to kind of combat that. With ayahuasca, though, if you do it, ritualistically, they make you go on a fast for a while, and there's a certain way to take care of yourself to do it.
Yeah, but you get a bunch of fucking dumbass 15-year-olds who get a hold of DMT and just start like doing it, and they're like, oh, geez, we got to take him to the hospital because his body temperature is 103 degrees.
People do that more on like Molly and ecstasy.
Yeah, because like all they've eaten today was fucking Dr. Pepper and corn dogs, and they're gonna go do a bunch of fucking Molly. I have no desire to do any club drugs.
Yeah, I'm with that.
It's just like, eh.
I like Molly. Molly killed my anxiety. I have horrible anxiety. I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah.
You've seen how it manifests, and I do. I have really bad anxiety, and Molly actually, and feel free, anybody listening, and you personally, feel free to look it up. Molly, they started doing trials with it with PTSD.
Really?
Yeah, PTSD and talk therapy, and it apparently has a drastic effect. It's because it works on the serotonin receptors in your brain, and
rather than your dopamine, which is why it's like not as addictive and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and what it does is it resets that particular part of your brain, and it works really well. Shrooms too. Shrooms have been.
I would probably do shrooms.
Yeah.
Like in a microdose.
Yeah. They're awesome in microdose. I used them for my, allegedly, I used them for anxiety, and they work really, really well.
Well, also it's like it's cheaper and probably better for you to do that than just take a shitload of like Celexa or whatever that antidepressant is.
Celexa. Yeah. Celexa's an ADHD drug, but they have a lot on the market now that are like the Zyprexas and the Prozacs and the Seroquels and the.
Well, see, but like the thing is, like, if we already have, like, if you can just get like the natural ingredients in it, and if you're careful with it, you know what you're doing. I really don't see why that would be an issue because like that, like it's a fungus.
I'm gonna be real conspiratorial here. Okay. The reason why is because you can grow it in your closet, and
because you
nobody
grow it
makes
out of
money
shit.
off of it.
Yeah.
Well, and you can grow it out of potato ochre. You can grow it out of cow shit. You can grow it out of a lot of different things. You can grow spores out of a lot of different substrates, man.
Yeah.
And you can do that personally with a couple of lights and a closet, as long as you keep the humidity up. you can do that pretty
And in
easily.
East Texas, that's not an issue.
Yeah, not at all. But that's why I think now Colorado is actually legalizing psilocybin mushrooms.
Yeah, I know that Oakland, California, like the whole area, like the county, the Alameda County, whatever it is, they've like decriminalized mushrooms. Not they haven't just legalized it, so you can't just like sell it and shit.
Right.
But like if you're growing it in your house, that's fine.
Well, to speak to the effect it has on mental illness, when the show's over, and to anybody listening, if you guys would go and look up Paul Stamets, he's a scientist that works on a project about psilocybin mushrooms and mental illness and how it affects the brain and the neurogenesis and all that. Look that up. It is absolutely fascinating. It's beautiful how it works on those particular disorders.
Yeah. See, man, I just like weed and booze. Like, honestly, I've been drunk enough and then high enough on weed to where I've never been like, I need to get even crazier. I've always been like, man, I'm just trying to figure out what socks are at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need, it's I like the idea of like just general inebriation to where it's like, man, I had a kind of a shitty day, and it's like, I'm gonna have 3 shots of this, like chill out and watch the sport. Not that I can watch sports. Thanks, COVID, fucking asshole. Anyway, I used to chill out and watch sports, so now I just like drink with nothing on.
A lot, yeah.
Well, actually, I've been replaying Ocarina of Time lately. I'm about halfway through it now.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Got the old school out and everything.
Yeah.
Dude, I've done a lot of those, the 8-bit heart tattoos.
Oh, yeah?
Holy shit. So many of them. And so many Hyrule, like the Triforce of Power and all those kinds of things, man.
Yeah.
So.
I bet that would happen. Yeah, like it's like a, once again, like back to tattoos. Like if I ever got something, I don't even know what I would even get, because I don't like the idea of like religious tattoos, because part of, me being Jewish, like they're always like, hey man, the Jews don't really get tattoos. It's not like our thing. Like, yeah, okay, I can get behind that. And then, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get a cross for Jesus. Like, I don't really think Jesus gives a shit.
Not at all.
Like, frankly, I don't really think Jesus.
Have you ever heard the Bill Hicks bit about that?
No,
How
I need
he
to get
talks
into Bill
about,
Hicks.
Oh my God, dude, you would love him. Hanging out with you and hearing your personality and your sense of humor, bro, that's awesome. You would love Bill Hicks. He does a bit about how if Jesus came back and saw all the crosses and stuff, how would you feel if people had a sniper rifle like a sniper rifle charm, and we're like talking about John F. Kennedy, just like we're really thinking about John,
just like, oh, it's just we're keeping him in our hearts, with these crosshairs.
That's actually exactly what Bill Hicks'
Oh,
bit
really?
is. Yeah.
Well, see, like I just think it's hilarious how it's like the crucifixion is a terrible way to die. Like, like I was talking to Ashley about that the other day, about how like when Jesus was crucified, they didn't nail him. Like usually when people were crucified, they were tied. They weren't nailed. And when they nailed him, they didn't go through his hand. They went like behind his wrist.
Yes and no. There actually is a huge debate about it. Okay, so in your hands, in the structure of your bones, there's a round pit in your hands down near the base of your tarsal bones. They think that he was nailed through that round area. And that way his body, because you have to remember, his full weight wasn't on his hands. He still had a nail through, and they don't do it like people say they do. Okay, crucifixion wasn't through the top of the feet like they depict.
No.
Crucifixion was one big spike that went through the side of your feet, through the big-ass cross member, through the big upright, and went through the other side of your feet. It was something that was more, we think about it as a block of wood nailed through both of your feet on top of each other, right?
Yeah.
That's not how they did it in traditional Roman crucifixion. How they would do it is they put your feet on either side of that upright, and they drive a giant spike through both of your feet like that. Yeah. And so basically, that's how it was done. And it's even more brutal than we think. Man. And you think about bleeding to death is the cause of death in crucifixion. That's not true.
It's more like asphyxiation, because you can't breathe.
You are literally choked by your own collarbone.
Yeah.
So and they used to talk about how Christ's legs weren't broken. Now the significance of that is when they would crucify you, so that you would die quicker the people that were sympathetic to you
Yeah.
would come over and they'd hit your legs with a hammer.
Yeah.
And break your legs so that you
So,
couldn't
yeah,
push
so
yourself
you would
back
slump
up.
down,
You'd slump down and die
and
quicker.
and you'd choke yourself with your shoulders. Yeah.
You'd choke quicker.
Yeah. Man, it didn't. Yeah, but typically they would only nail people if it was like not like a more like egregious crime against the state or whatever. But
It was to
typically
send a
people were
message.
bound. Yeah, and with him, and then like the crown of thorns and all that. And then Peter was crucified upside down.
Do you know why?
Yeah, because he was like, I don't want to be crucified like how Christ was.
I don't want to die like my Lord.
Yeah. So they crucified him, which is just fucking insane. And then, which it actually like I love how like people are like, oh, upside down cross, that's the Antichrist. No, that's St. Peter's cross, you dumb fuck. Like it's like quit listening to what MTV told you, and like that's actually like still a very strong like religious symbol that's not used. And you might be familiar with it's the Phi Rho. It's an X with a P that goes through it. It's a common symbol in Catholicism because that was like the more original symbol of Christianity prior to like the cross being
Eastern Orthodox, yeah.
Yeah, and Eastern Orthodoxy uses that as well, and a lot of other things. And I think that is a much more. I think that it's just a better representation of like super painful death, or like, oh hey, we got some Greek letters, we'll just.
Well, in Christianity, man, if you look back, and I know this isn't what the show is about, but Christianity, if you look back in the history of it, there is so many schisms and councils and
dude, just like today's like modern amount of denominations that are in the United States, and then half of them can't get along with each other.
Oh yeah, and then some of them are really creepy. I grew up
Mormons.
Oh, Mormons are less creepy, actually. Like, I know when I say that, you're looking at me like that, but, dude, have you ever hung out with, like, old school Pentecostals?
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Bruh.
Yeah,
I grew up, I didn't have so, again, not to go off topic, but, like, I didn't grow up with a nuclear family, so I lived with a bunch of different people, right? And one of my grandmother, who is hugely into religion, we spent some time with some Pentecostals in their church, and they do baptism and they do the normal stuff. But what they also do, and my little sister, this story is funny as hell. So my little sister and I went to one of the Pentecostal church, and they do the speaking in tongues, right? And
which is I'm not okay with that.
Oh my God. Anyway, so my sister went a couple of times, and these people, and not to bash anybody's beliefs, like, y'all do you, I get it, but these people would speak in tongues for a while, and then they just fall out.
Yeah.
Pass the fuck out. So my sister, we went a couple of times, and Kathleen's like, hey, man, they get to take a nap. My sister is probably 16, 17 years old at this point, and so we were sitting in church, and she's like, you know what, I'm tired. And I'm like, Kathleen, please don't do this. And she goes up, screams the lyrics to Karma Chameleon, and lays down, and these people like go over and they throw a blanket over her, and she gets to take a nap. And I'm like, you little bitch. Like,
You fucking asshole.
That's not okay.
Oh man, like if I was at church and then there's a guy or lady next to me and they start speaking in tongues, I'm gonna politely but firmly tell them to shut the hell up.
Okay. The thing about it is, man, these people, they don't just scream and speak in tongues. Yeah. They literally think that anything can be a possession.
Yeah.
Okay, anything can be like a demon is possessing you or whatever. And I say these people, a very small but loud minority of these people think that.
Yeah, like people like trans groomers, small but loud minority,
right.
Really fucked up group of people. But sure, yeah.
I look like I do. I'm a split tongue, like we talked about earlier, split tongue and tattoos in my head and all that. Well, I went to church, and we also have already talked about the fact that I really don't like contact. I fucking hate being touched. I had the whole church put their hands on me all at once. Yeah, it was a living nightmare. I was freaking out. And they thought, as I freaked out because of anxiety, because I do not like being touched, as I was freaking out, that just kind of spurred on their thought.
They thought they were like exercising a demon out of you. It's like, no, I'm a normal person. I don't want to be touched.
Yeah, I just don't want you to touch me with your chicken grease fingers. Leave me alone. Like,
oh, God,
that's bad, man.
That's fucking weird.
It was, man. I've had a lot of experience with that kind of religion, and it's really cool to see that kind of herd mentality as somebody that kind of is researching the human condition, but at the same time, you really kind of pity their ignorance at times.
Yeah. So you are the only one on the show. Well, you're the only one you're the oldest one to come on the show. So congratulations for that. Also, you're
thanks,
the only one. You're the only one as of recording, like being on it. One of the other guys has been on the show. He's now a dad. But you're the only one, like as of recording, who is now a dad. And you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
And then now since spring break's been extended, so they just staying with you for even longer now.
My daughter went home to see her grandmother today, and then she'll be coming back. Well, I mean, she usually stays with me. In fact, up until about 2 years ago, she's 6 now. But up until 2 years ago, I was a single dad.
Oh, okay.
I had my daughter all the time. My son, through a convoluted story of weird shit, he lives with my grandmother, but I used to live with my grandmother too. I lived with her for about 4 years of his life, and he's 10. And I had him. I didn't have him. I didn't get to see him for about 3 years of his life. His mom took him and ran off with him. So,
well, like I remember what you said. Yeah, you both mothers were drug fiends.
they're doing great now. I mean, dude.
I mean, like
no animosity. And there is something to speak to that. Yes, both of my ex-wives have been
not girlfriends, wives.
Yeah. I've been married twice, and I'm only 30.
Dude, man, you're ahead of the curve,
right? But both of my ex-wives kind of, both the postpartum depression and just the lifestyles that we were living before said baby, it hit them pretty hard. And I have to look back now and kind of recognize that, because people are just people, and there's only so much you can take. And so now, looking back at it now, there's a lot of levels that I really just can't talk shit about it, because that was how they dealt with that particular part of their life.
Yeah.
And with one of them, it caused her to do some pretty heinous things. I mean, she took my son and ran off to Tennessee. She didn't let me see my son for 3 years. And then when I got him back, I was with him every day for a long time. And then with my daughter, my Fury, my daughter, I had her for 4 years. It was just me and her. And her mom would come in intermittently, and she would stay for 3 or 4 months, and then she'd leave. And then she'd come in, stay for a month and a half, and then leave. And then that's what she would do. And the rest of the time, I just had Fury. And I was this, at the time when she was born, I was 23, and I was 25, and then I was 26. And I just, that guy, I spent most of my 20s just with this baby girl. And for those that know me, I'm what AJ likes to say. I'm unnervingly polite but capably violent. That's my personality.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and so having a daughter, it's even more scary, because in this day and age, not to be anti-feminist, but guys, as a dad, you look at women not as weak, but as something to be protected.
Fragile.
Well, not fragile even, just valuable.
Okay, yeah.
You look at women as more valuable than guys. And with my son, I love my son, and I'm very protective of my son, but my son's a purple belt in karate right now, and he's only 10.
Yeah.
And as he grows up, he trains martial arts with me, and he does things that I know that my son can protect himself if need be.
Right.
With my,
especially in most dangers that a 10-year-old's going to face.
Yeah, my daughter, on the other hand, she's interested in dance, she's interested in singing, she's interested in all these other things. She doesn't value that self-defense as much.
Yeah.
So I look at her as more valuable, and not really more valuable, but more apt to need my protection. And and it goes back to her name. My daughter's name is Fury. So I was a boy dad for 6 years before my daughter was born. 4 years before my daughter was born. I had a son. And being a boy dad is completely different. Okay? Being a boy dad, you can slap your son on the back of the head and go, no, you can't have that. Yeah. And he'll be like, right on, Dad, I get it. With a girl, I'm going to end up with a fucking pink Corvette and have to tell somebody she asked for it. I don't know. I just couldn't tell her no. And the reason I say that is, I was afraid. I was afraid of being a dad of a girl. And in our times, people being as heinous to each other as they are. One of my favorite quotes from Green Mile is when John Coffey's talking to the guy, and he's like, you know, boss, I'm tired. I'm really just kind of tired of how ugly people are to each other. And that translates to somebody like me, because at being the father of a daughter, you think about that, how heinous people are to each other.
Yeah.
And so I for a long time, for 4 months, I was completely just scared of having a girl. And the apprentice at the shop that I was working at, his name's Nicky. He kept on telling me, he would fuck with me every day. You're gonna have a girl. You're gonna have a girl. You're gonna have a girl. And it would just fuck with me because I'm scared, man. Fuck you. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And 4 months into her pregnancy, she had the sonogram, and I had to work, so I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And that sucked, but I couldn't go. And it was a Saturday, or it was a Friday. I couldn't go because that's one of the busiest days that we have. And at that point, I was an artist. And so my ex-wife calls, and she gets Nikki, and she thinks it's me. And so she tells Nikki, she's like, hey, Daddy, you're having a girl. And Nikki smiles ear to ear and is like, I'll tell him. And she's like, no, Nikki, let me tell him,
Too
it's
late.
mine. And he's like, too late. You already told me. I'm going to hang up now. I'm going to go tell him. So he comes in my office, and I'm worried. But at the time, I wouldn't really even think about it because I was at work.
Yeah.
And he comes in, and he's like, hey, man, you're having a girl. And I thought he was still fucking with me.
Yeah.
And I just had a bad day. And I was like, hey, man, leave
shut
me
the
the
fuck
fuck
up.
alone.
Yeah.
I will fuck you up. And he's like, no, man, for real. Stormy just called. She just had the sonogram. You're having a girl. And I broke down, dude. I'm like, yeah, you know me. I'm a relatively fortified guy.
Yeah.
I broke down. He fucked me up. I'm scared. And he comes over, he puts his hand on my shoulder, and this kid is not known for saying anything profound, but he looked at me, he's like, hey, brother, look. That little girl is going to be all your fury. She's going to take all your fury from you and put it into this little bitty package. She will make you a better guy. She'll take all your fury away from you. And so about 4 months later, at her 8-month thing, we were going to do a baby shower. And we had this banner with all these different letters, and we had not figured out a name for the baby yet. And they were trying to name her after me. It was like Camille or, Camellia. And
Cammy or something.
yeah, just all these different names. They were trying to name her after me. And I was like, hey, guys, just name her Fury. Yeah, put Fury on them.
And it stuck.
And that was the baby's name. We got a big blanket made, Fury Lynn. And she has been, man, ever since then. Being a single dad, she made me a better dude.
Really?
Yeah, man. Oh, God. She has kept me out of prison. She has kept me out of alcoholism. She's kept me out of addiction. Knowing that she was there and knowing that I had to be a better man to take care of her really, really changed a lot.
So, by having kids, is that like when you started cleaning up?
Man, in the sake of transparency, no.
Okay.
For the sake of transparency, when I had my son, I was 19, almost 20, and I did not know what the fuck I was doing in the world.
That's fair. I didn't either. When
Right,
I was
right.
that age, and I did not have a kid.
Well, and even growing up like I did, when I was growing up, I didn't have a good representation of what a parent was. I lived with different people all throughout my life. I've been on my own since I was 15. I had my own house at 15.
Yeah.
So I've been on my own for this long. And so I didn't really have a good representation of what a parent was supposed to do. And so at 19, I have my son, and I am fucking just terrified, man. Just like I'm working 3 jobs because I think that's what a dad needs to do. And, and then I think the turning point of me being like that and being as scared as I was I lost one of my jobs, and I got a little bit of time to spend time at the house with my son. And this is before his mom ran off with him. He's about 8 months old when his mom ran off with him. So about 4 months old, I lost one of my jobs, and I had time to spend with him.
Yeah.
And so I just did that. I just spent time with him and played video games like with him sitting in his swing, and that's when I kind of learned what it was to be a dad. And then when she took him from me, I went apeshit again.
I bet that.
I went back out, as they say, and I spent a lot of years, and at least until Fury was born, and I spent a lot of years just being an absolute fuckhead, just staying fucked up. And then when Fury was born, that was it for me. I had done everything there was to do as far as substances was concerned, and none of those things even they all paled in comparison to being able to hold my daughter and have my daughter there with me.
Yeah.
And none of it was that important anymore. I had this thing, this beautiful like reason to be a good guy and to try. And have I always been a good guy? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to tell you.
Oh yeah, like, well, I mean that's all. I mean, that's a lot of, probably, I would argue one of the biggest parts of life is fucking up and then learning from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like I was thinking about this the other day, because like when I was growing up, I always heard, "Shit, boy, if I could go back to being your age, knowing what I know now, like I tell you, I'd do this, do this." And I was thinking about that the other day, because like you used to hear that all the time from people. It's like, "Boy, when I was 15, I was doing. The only thing I was concerned about was getting pussy," and I'm just like, all right, that's clearly, you didn't really get much further in life when you're 40, but whatever.
Right.
But now, I was thinking, I was driving home from work and I was thinking about that situation. Like, man, like if I could go back to being 14, knowing what I know now at 23,
right.
I was like, I would not take that option, because I would be a fucking asshole to people, because like, well, well, I know what I'm gonna do now. Like, I would think I'm a fucking genius,
right?
And then which you're not, even in today's standard, even if I wasn't a 14-year-old brain. But I believe that had I had made better decisions, then my current life would be very different, and I'm kind of glad that I did make those mistakes, because now I know what I need to do in the future, and I'm very happy with where I am now.
Yeah, man, and with minor, very minor changes, I'm very happy with where I'm at now. I've got two very, very beautiful kids, a career that I absolutely love, and
you got a really cool roommate.
Yeah, baby boy is fucking. By the way, baby boy Alec, and you had Red on the.
Yeah. Sarah was the first of that whole friend circle to come up.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I've been able to make.
She's a lot funnier than she is in conversation. Like, she really is a lot funnier than I've spent a lot more time with her since Christmas. I've spent a lot more time with like them as just a group of friends, and I've always spent time with baby boy. I mean, I lived with him for the last 2 years, pretty much.
Here,
yeah. So.
And you got a lizard. That's cool.
Giant lizard.
Fucking tegu. I just got 2 little dinosaurs back there.
Yeah, right. Well, man, if they had let me, I'm so glad they didn't. But if they had let me, I would have an alligator by now.
Dude, I was about to say, like, honestly, like, if I could have like a pet gator, like in the bag, and like, oh shit, what the fuck?
I did a lot of
dude,
research
that's
on
Ralph,
him.
man. He just hangs up, like, you throw him like a chicken once a day.
Bro, Morrison was like that, and will be again very soon. Morrison was like that during the summer last year. We just let him run through the house. We let him out in the house, and he just ran around.
That's so fucking cool.
And he's now a lot bigger, and so when the cold season's over, I'm probably gonna do that again. Just let him run around the house like a dog.
Yeah.
He's fucking awesome. He's the greatest thing, man. And when you hang out with him, it's a lot like hanging out with a really chill house cat.
Yeah.
Like, he'll come up and be like, "Hey, man, love on me." Okay, cool. I'm gonna go over here and hide under something.
Yeah.
Check you later.
Yeah,
and like he's the shit.
Man, because like Ashley is like super big into lizards, because she used to have like geckos and all a bearded dragon and all this other stuff. So when she found that she had a tegu, she like about creamed herself over it.
Yeah, I remember, man. We've been talking about doing this forever, and one of the conversation that like led into us doing this actually was I wanted y'all to come over and meet the lizard and hang out. Everybody that comes over to the house, I'm like, open up his cage. I'm like, hey guys, go in there. And make sure you pet him. If he gets out, don't step on him. And like I introduced him to everybody. Dude, for a lizard, because reptiles, for anybody
usually
who
aren't
doesn't know,
social.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, like, reptiles are usually not social. But Morrison is all about it, man. He'll crawl up on your shoulders and he'll lay his head down.
See, one of my buddies said he had coral snake, whatever, like one of those constrictor snakes. She was social as fuck. Like she wanted to to sit on your shoulders and just change. And I was cool with it. One of my, he's been on the show too. He went by Doobie Dan. He had a big ass coral snake, and he would pull it out of the cage like, here, hang on to her, man. And she'd just be like, dude, like a little tongue thing, whatever. I thought it was cool. Man,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Just put on silent. But,
I am going to try.
The reason why I got birds is because I used to live, prior to living here, I shared a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 guys for about 2 or 3 months, and then the other guys went to the Marine Corps, so just me and one other guy in this 2-bedroom apartment. So I was always used to interaction.
Yeah.
And that's why I got birds, because after living here for about 4 months, I was like, man, this is kind of fucking boring. Just being by myself all the time and watching sports and there's nothing else going on.
Well, I mean, shit, your outlets and stuff are pretty high up. Maybe I just bring Morrison over and let him run around your house.
I mean, yeah, that's cool with me.
And when it gets warmer, man, I'll be able to take him out. I have actually thought about taking him out to
you have
Bergfeld.
a leash for him?
Yeah, I do.
That's so cool.
I've got videos and stuff of him walking on a leash.
Hell yeah.
I'll show you after the show, man. He, in fact, my son and my daughter walk him on the leash all the time when it was warmer. And my daughter, baby boy's Dilly, baby boy's sister, AJ's sister, came over and.
Is she hot?
No, she's 13.
Oh,
god damn, Dan.
Well, I didn't know. No, nobody,
bro.
Nobody told me the age.
Anyway.
Okay, but it would if AJ had a
granted
20
I didn't give you the context. You're
right.
absolutely right.
But if AJ had a 19 or 20-year-old sister, I would just lay it on real thick, only in front of him. Just,
hell yeah. Well,
just
and
to
I
piss
mean
him off.
AJ's not a bad looking kid.
No,
have you met his brother Connor?
No,
they're both hot. Anyway,
and I'm straight as an arrow, but
right.
I can appreciate a handsome
They're cute
dude.
guys. But Dilly, his 13-year-old sister, came over, and my daughter, my 6-year-old, had the big 4-foot lizard on her shoulders.
Nice.
And was kissing on his face and loving on him and stuff. Well, no, I had him on my shoulders at that point. She took him on later, but I had the big lizard on my shoulder. My daughter's kissing him on the face and loving on him and stuff. And she tells Dilly, she's like, "Hey, you can come over and pet him. He's really lovable." And Dilly's just terrified. And so the other day they came over to the house, and I was like, "Dilly, you want to pet the lizard?" She's like, "I guess. I'd love to." Mm-hmm. And so I took him out of the cage and put him on my shoulder, and she started petting him. She's like, "He feels like a basketball." My baby, everybody says that. He's got beads instead of scales on his back, so he feels like basketball. Yeah,
the only reason why I didn't get a bearded dragon or something like that is because it was so much cheaper, startup cost wise, just to have birds. Because bearded dragon themselves $40-$50, something.
Yeah.
But to get the terrarium and all the setup plus the electricity and all that,
shit, man, if you ever want to get one, I've got extra, because I keep a reptile. I've got extra fixtures and and I've got a bunch of equipment that.
Well, also I don't have the room for terrarium now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Morrison sleeps under my daughter's bed. My daughter's bed is his cage. It's a 6-foot tall queen size bed that underneath it is a big terrarium.
That's pretty cool.
And she flipped out about it. I am a girl dad when it comes to that. She is my princess, and she sleeps in a castle with a dragon underneath it, is what Fury says. So
alrighty.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, she's not wrong.
No, not at all. She tells people I have a monster in my bed, and she's not wrong. He's huge. So.
But because also because parakeets are pretty easy to raise. My buddy, he's also been on the show, Salad. He is a vet tech, and he's the guy that's got all the trash polka tattoos.
I met him at Rose.
Yeah.
So
me and him. He's got a bearded dragon named Dobby. It was given to him when he worked at an exotic clinic in Hawkins, because there's an exotic pet clinic in Hawkins, and he worked there. And this person just gave him this morbidly obese fucking bearded dragon. This motherfucker, he's probably about 18 inches long, head to tip of tail, but he's about 9 inches wide. Take a basketball, take all the air out of it. That's what he looks like with the tail. He had that, and then he has a yellow-necked Amazon parrot. Mm-hmm. But he left it with his grandpa because, first of all, it's a giant parrot. And as much as I like birds, Most people actually have an aversion to birds, and I didn't realize that till like after I got them.
Well, they're hard to keep. I mean,
And parrots are gonna tear your shit up.
yeah. Well, they're hard to keep for a lot of reasons. Now, parrots, people think about parrots just sitting in their cage and doing. Parrots need a lot of exercise and a lot of interaction.
A lot of it, like parrots, like one of the reasons that's why I got 2 birds is so when I'm at work and I'm like not home for a weekend,
They can
I
interact
can leave the
with
radio
each other.
on and they're cool. But like if I had like a family of 5
Mm-hmm.
and there's one single bird and they're okay with that,
Right?
Because they're gonna get all the interaction they need.
See, that's the thing about Morrison. Why his cage is so big, because it is, man. It's like I said, the dimensions of a queen size bed, and then it's 6 foot tall. It's a huge cage. The reason it's so big is because not only is he big, but he needs to move around a lot, and he does. Holy shit, does he? He gets out of the fucking cage and gets behind shit like the fridge or under the bed or in cabinets.
Yeah.
I came home the other night and I found him in the cabinet in my bedroom.
Morrison, get out of the Chex Mix, fucking shit.
Well, yeah. Well, we named him Morrison because of Jim Morrison, the Lizard King. So, like,
Which I think is pretty damn
and
cool.
he moves around the house, and he got up in the chair one time. So you have the fabric under the chair that he got up in that.
Nice.
And I couldn't
Of
find
course,
him for hours, and I was flipping the fuck out. I finally found him, and now every time that he gets out, I'm like, he's either in a cabinet or in the chair. And so,
He likes the chair.
oh yeah, he likes anywhere that's dark, and he can get up in and just hide.
Yeah, because he's a lizard.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, when it's warm, I let him sleep in the bed with me. So there's that.
Nice.
Giant ass lizard in the bed with me. But yeah, man, they need a lot of interaction and a lot of exercise, and otherwise they will get big. Now Morrison is big, but he
What do you
is
feed
not.
him?
Ground
Squirrel
turkey, asparagus, rapashi that we order. Just pretty much, we feed him a lot better than I eat on a weekly basis. we feed him ground turkey, and we put calcium in his food. And I have really big heat lamps and UV lamps for him, and he lives realistically a lot better than most dogs. I interact with him every day. I go in his cage, I pick him up, I love on him, and he hangs out with me, and my kids go in there and love on him, and he hangs out with them, and he's got a personality like a really chill house cat. Like I said earlier, he's fucking great.
What level of lizard smell is there?
Not as bad as long as you keep them cleaned up. Now, when not to give too much information, when they shit, dude, it's bad.
I bet it is.
Like,
Because
you need to clean that shit up.
Because you can smell cat shit from a mile away, especially when a cat lays a fresh one.
I would say somewhere between cat shit and
Human
dog shit.
Oh, really?
Dog
shit's nasty, man.
Dog shit smells, but you have to be up on it.
Dude, somebody had a dog in the U-Haul truck, and the dog took a shit underneath the seat, so I couldn't get the shit out. So I just left the windows down, and then somebody took that motherfucker on a one-way to Terrell.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I didn't say shit about that, but there was no way I'm just gonna reach in there and get I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the dog shit. It smelled like damn dog shit in there, man.
Well, lizards are pretty bad, and you have to go in there and spot clean and stuff. I need to change out his substrate because he's more active now. They go into brumation, so he'll sleep for 5 months. He'll come out and bask for a little bit, and he'll go right back to sleep. And he did that for a while, and now that he's up and he's more active, I need to get in there and spot clean and change out his substrate. And I just bought new fixtures, and that motherfucker keeps on breaking bulbs and shit. Bro, he's got... Baby boy has a cat named Elvis.
Dude, I fucking hate cats.
Well,
hate cats.
Morrison doesn't like cats either.
Yeah.
So I told you about, Morrison used to roam the house, and I'd let him out, and he'd roam the house. We got up underneath this bookshelf. Now, we have 2 cats. We have Rhiannon, our female cat, and then we have Elvis, which is baby boy's cat. He's completely cool with Rhiannon. The lizard is. Super cool with Rhiannon. Rhiannon, rubs on him and shit, and he's like, all right, bitch, that's cool. Elvis, on the other hand, he doesn't fucking like at all. So, and I don't know if it's a smell thing or it's just Elvis is a complete dickhead that thinks he's as important as the humans in the house. Elvis walks around the house like he pays rent, dude, for real.
Yeah.
So Elvis Morrison's up underneath this bookshelf, and Elvis goes up underneath there to fuck with him, and Morrison tail whipped him. Now, the dimensions of Morrison's tail are about like a 3-foot bullwhip. And if you've never kept reptiles, their first line of defense is to hit you with that tail. Yeah. And now it may sound like that doesn't suck, but believe you me, it hurts, man. They hit you because his tail is like...
It's like it's bigger than your forearm at the base.
Fuck yeah, it is. It literally is about the size of my forearm right now.
Yeah.
And when he hits you with it, it feels like you get hit with a razor whip. It can open you. It can, man. It can leave whelps, leave cuts. Well, this cat got up underneath there and was fucking with the lizard, and he tail whipped him. And I watched this cat jump 4 feet in the air and take the fuck off. Just left. And it was really funny. But at the same time, since then, they just have this thing where Elvis doesn't fuck with Morrison, and Morrison won't seek Elvis out. But he's like, don't come over here, motherfucker.
Yeah, like, I'll fucking do it again.
I'll hurt you. Yeah. Now, the other cat, like I said, man, I've got pictures on my phone. The other cat can rub on Morrison, can lick the top of his head, can lay right beside him, does not care. Loves the cat.
That's hilarious.
Does not like Elvis. So.
Shit. Oh, fuck. Well, shit, we're about hitting that mark. What is the shop you work at?
I work at Art&Soul Tattoo Studio out in Flint. I'm there from 1:30 to whenever on weekdays, and then on Friday and Saturday, I'm there from usually about 12:30 to 12:30. I try to stay as late as I can to take people in.
Okay.
But that's my business hours. Now, other than that, you can kind of catch me on Facebook or whatever to set appointments and do stuff like that. So
okay. Do you want me to link your Facebook in the description?
Well, you don't have to, man. I'm saying that.
I mean, I did it for Josh with his Instagram because he was like a whore. He was like, I'm an Instagram whore. So I was like, fuck it, I'll put it in the description.
I am absolutely not, but if people want ink, I'm more than happy to take care of whatever they got.
Yeah. And then they could look at your portfolio and everything.
Yeah, well, I don't have it loaded, but if somebody hits me up, I send them like 48 fucking pictures or some shit, like as many pictures as I have on my phone, which I'm thoroughly convinced if I deleted all the tattoo photos of like screenshots and shit off of my phone might be physically lighter. So
there's so many. Shit. Dude, okay, so Johnnie Walker Double Black, you've been talking about it for a while. This shit is first of all, it's the bee's knees with a bag of chips. And that is not how that saying goes. Fuck it. Yeah, like definitely really good. Super smoky. I understand why they call it Double Black.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's about $50. I would highly recommend it for something a little as a cut above.
Yeah, man. If you want to celebrate or just have a night in, Double Black's where it's at, man.
Double Black's where it's at. Any closing statement you got?
Yeah, y'all be good to each other, man.
All right, man. So thanks again for listening. If you want, you can write us in at whiskeydanradio@gmail.com. We also still have stickers. We got a couple available. If you want
shit!
one.
I gotta go slap stickers on shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, I only got a few left, but yeah, I got some. And then, other than that, shit, y'all stay drunk.